Good afternoon, everybody. Big Mike back here with you once again. Welcome back to Big Mike Talks, where today I'm going to be bringing you the results for the 2025 Revolution pay-per-view, along with the full review for SmackDown and Collision, or at least part of Collision. I did miss some. But, we're going to get right into it with the Revolution results. We're going to start unexpectedly on the pre-show as Costco guy Big Boom AJ, who teamed with Orange Cassidy and Mark Briscoe, beat Johnny TV, the former John Morrison, and the MXM collection. That's Mansoor and Mason Madden, if you remember them. They were LA Knights guys when he was Maxine Dupri. I can't believe I said it like that. My apologies. First matchup of the evening, Hangman Adam Page defeats MJF. Mercedes Moné successfully defends her TBS title against Momo Watanabe. Swerve Strickland beats Ricochet to become the new number one contender for the AEW title. Kazuchika Okada defeats Brody King to retain his Continental Championship. The Hurt Syndicate pretty much squashed the Outrunners to retain their AEW tag team titles. Timeless Toni Storm beats Mariah May and retains her women's title in a Falls Count Anywhere match. Kenny Omega beats Konosuke Takeshita for the AEW International title. Will Ospreay finally gets one over on Kyle Fletcher, beating him inside of a steel cage. And the little disappointment of the evening as Jon Moxley retains his title against Adam Copeland, a.k.a. Edge. So, overall, very interesting show. That main event was garbage. I'm sorry. Tony, that was the time to pivot. We don't want to wait for Darby Allin to come back, as much as I love Darby. Jon Moxley ain't it anymore. It's time to get the title off him, tell some new stories. So, that will do it for that. We now move to our SmackDown review. And we start off, see key people getting into the arena. Then we see a kind of live shot of Drew, in which, alright, I think something's going to happen. Then you can just see, he sees red. And I don't mean bleeding, he ultimately sees red. Drops his bags, beelines over to Damian Priest, who initially I thought it was going to be Jimmy Uso, his opponent for tonight. But it does make sense, it's Priest. So, that's probably going to be the setup for their WrestleMania match, which could be interesting. We then get a short video recap of the Elimination Chamber results. And then we open the show proper with a Randy Orton promo. And I'm going to say this, I've missed Randy Orton. Like, is he the most interesting wrestler in the world? No. But I will say I have missed him. So he pretty much says, a lot has happened since I've been gone. Since I can remember, John Cena has always been on top of this business. Now he's just a bottom for The Rock. Okay, that one got me. That was good. That was clever. He continues, I bring up John because we've been friends for a long time. Another person on the short list is Kevin Owens. That gets a good reaction from the crowd. Both recently have done file things to get the job done. but always in the name of business. The wrestler, Kevin Owens, I have major respect for. We've gone to it time and again. But Kevin Owens, the man, is who I have a problem with. I never underestimate another man's ability to destroy another. Owens tried to end Cody Rhodes' career because Owens was jealous of Cody and his spot. At the Elimination Chamber, Owens tried to end the career of Sami Zayn because Sami Zayn had become a bigger star than Kevin Owens. Even before that, he dropped me on my head with a pile driver because I was protecting my friend, Sami. And he has had one goal, and that everyone in this business has one goal, to main event WrestleMania. And Owens did that twice. Once with Sami Zayn, and once against Stone Cold Steve Austin. He didn't do the voice, but I did the voice. Randy continues. What does Owens have to be jealous of? It is never enough for people like him. When I went down with injury, I was told I was done. My career was over. But I worked my butt off to get back to this. And Kevin Owens, you just pissed me off. And at Elimination Chamber, I saved Zayn. I RKO'd Owens. But I wasn't satisfied. And I liked that. The voices in my head returned. I was about to kick Owens' head off. And you got saved. Owens, listen. I'm going to prove that Pat McAfee is the second greatest punter in WWE. God dang, that's a good line. Holy heck, that's a good line. Yeah, Owens, you have, Randy Orton, you have my attention. I am now pretty darn hyped for their alleged WrestleMania match, because that's going to be a good one. Then we see Tiffany backstage. Tiffany Stratton and Nick Aldis were talking about something, but I didn't really catch it, so I'm sorry about that. Then Chelsea Green and Piper Niven come in, with Green saying, "It's not fair I have to defend my title tonight. I know my rights." Then Stratton turns to her, "How about your right to silence?" Then Green retorts, "Are you trying to censor us?" Then Piper Niven chimes in. I didn't really catch what she said because her accent is a little thick. I do apologize for that. But then Nick Aldis breaks them up saying, "Alright, tonight, let's get Tiffany Stratton versus Piper Niven." Then we get a video package of some streamer and influencer reactions of the John Cena heel turn at Elimination Chamber. That's going to come up a couple of times. And I'm going to say this, I loved everyone. Like, I wish they did that for Edge for his Rumble return. Did they? I think they did. For Edge's Rumble return, but this is definitely effective. So, then we get to our first matchup of the evening, and it's Tiffany Stratton taking on Piper Niven. And this was a little awkward at first. Niven and Tiffany, I don't think ever really worked together. But eventually it did pick up with Piper catching a handspring elbow and then dumping her over the top rope. Piper fights back, hits a swanton bomb, which I'm happy she uses that move. Only gets a 2 count. Piper with a gorgeous Bossman slam for a 2 count. Attempts the Vader bomb. Tiffany gets her moves. And apparently that was enough to keep Piper down. Because then Tiffany hits the prettiest moonsault ever to pick up the win. Definitely kind of a basic match, but that's okay. I'm happy Piper's getting a little spotlight because she is a really, really underrated character. Then Tiffany Stratton, she's celebrating with the belt. From behind, Charlotte Flair rolls into the ring. It's a chop block on Tiffany Stratton's leg. Locks in the figure 8. And she's like on her tippy toes and on her fingertips. It looks brutal. Officials then come out, break it up. Flair lets go. Holds the title over Tiffany. Yeah, that is way too many times Charlotte Flair has gotten the advantage over Stratton. I don't know. It makes her look a little... I'm not going to say weak, but at least a little dumb. Anyway, so then we go backstage for a segment with Nick Aldis, and he breaks down the entire tag team title situation, which honestly, that looked good. He did it all on a whiteboard, connecting dots. That looked great. So then it's announced the Street Profits next week are going to get their title shot against DIY. This week, the Motor City Machine Guns, Los Garza, and Pretty Deadly are going to be in a triple threat match for a number 1 contendership for the tag team titles. Love this. Love this. It's a little different than just the tournament style. It's a little bit more interesting. Would I say creative? Not really, but I love the breakdown. It's great. It's old school. It kind of reminds me of John Madden back in the day as the announcer, where he would, like, dude, it was pretty entertaining. So then we go to that match as it's a number 1 contendership for the WWE Tag Team titles. It's Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley of the Motor City Machine Guns take on Angel and Berto of Los Garza, taking on Kit Wilson and Elton Prince of Pretty Deadly. I cannot believe I got all that. And this was pretty much tit for tat pretty much right away. Blind tags aplenty. Eventually, everyone gets in and they just brawl after a little bit. Prince then with a big hair pull. Knee hitting a cutter, which, that was impressive. Guns attempt a skull and bones. That gets blocked. Pretty much right into a roll-up. For your winners, Pretty Deadly. So yeah, that was a fun little matchup. I do wish they were given a little bit more time. But yeah, I'm okay with Pretty Deadly getting another shot. Yeah, we'll see where this ended up. Will it be DIY or is it going to be the Profits? Time will tell. Then we get a video recap of the Jade Cargill return for Elimination Chamber, which was beautiful. We get another video of the John Cena heel turn and different reactions, which is a lot of fun. Then we get this interesting bit of business. We get a Bianca Belair in-ring promo. She says, I really should be feeling on top of the world. I should be focused on WrestleMania. But it's hard to do when your friends are fighting. Jade and I had bonded over our tag team, and then Naomi stepped up, and once we came together, she became my best friend. Don't get ahead of me. She then continues, I don't believe Naomi would do anything like that, but I need some answers. Naomi and Jade aren't answering my calls or text messages, so Naomi, I need you to come out here. So Naomi comes out. She's in a neck brace. She's moving a little more tentatively, and she's wearing all black, which should be a key. So Naomi gets in the ring. She has a microphone, but Bianca says, what's going on here? And Naomi keeps calling her B, which is an interesting little name. It's not what it looks like. Then Bianca asks, I'm going to ask you, when Jade was out, no, this is still Naomi. Who stepped up? Bianca said, stop. I know what you're doing. I'm going to ask this once. Did you attack Jade? Then Naomi doesn't answer the question right away. She says, this has nothing to do but a distraction from us getting our tag titles back, from you winning at WrestleMania. Bianca's then like, stop. You're talking about everything else than what I'm asking. It's about Jade now. And then Naomi kind of snaps, says, you want to know how I feel about Jade? I feel like she was piggyback off of your success. And I was in the back forced to watch Jade leech off of your hard work while I fought for myself. I don't give a damn about Jade. Then Bianca's like, yells, stop. Then she collects herself, asks, this is a very simple yes or no. Tell me right now or I'm walking right now. Did you attack Jade? Naomi's looking a little sheepish. She doesn't really want to answer. Then she looks at Bianca, says, yes, I did it. There you go. Yeah, I did it. But I did it for us. This whole time, Bianca then screams, no! You want to know why this hurts, Naomi? Because I loved you. I can't look at you right now. And this, we're done. She drops the microphone. She starts going up the ramp. Naomi's yelling at her. Is this because of her? Come on, B, talk to me. I'm sorry. I did this all for you. Truth is, I wish I pushed her harder. That's when she reveals she didn't need the neck brace. She rips it off. She starts ripping on Jade Cargill. And then she says, kind of to the crowd, when I stand up for myself, you won't turn on me. You ungrateful bitch. And then as soon as she says that, you see Bianca stop. She has tears in her eyes. Then the camera turns, so we're looking at the stage. And on the video board, we see an SUV roll in. Who gets out? It's Jade Cargill. And she's wearing a white jumpsuit with red splotches on it, which looks really, really interesting. So then Jade comes out. She heads right to where Bianca is. Bianca looks at Jade. Motions for her to get in the ring. Naomi tries to run. But Jade pulls her back in, slams her into the announce table, chucks her into the ring post, gets her back in the ring, hits Jaded. So, This is interesting. I don't know if this is going to go down at this match is going to go down at WrestleMania, or honestly, I got a very interesting idea. While Naomi did the deed, I'm going to say Bianca was the mastermind. Like, point a gun at me, whatever. I got a funny feeling those were crocodile tears, and we're going to see Bianca turn on Jade, eventually leading to a match between them, which I could see going really good. We then get a full look at the Men's Chamber recap and recap of John Cena's heel turn, because that's what everyone's talking about. Then we go backstage for a Drew McIntyre interview. He's still not quite in his gear. He says to the interviewer, "If you've watched the past year, everyone has been shocked about Cena. So many hearts got broken. But Priest took advantage of me. He did nothing to give but violence. And to the black sheep of the family, I'm the black sheep of my family." And he walks off. Short, sweet, to the point. And actually, speaking of sweet, this one was kind of a nice little moment. So we see footage of Lex Luger, who is sadly wheelchair bound, and he's talking a little bit with DDP. He's doing some DDP yoga, which is... that's awesome. Then we see Cody Rhodes. He's in Lex Luger's house, slowly going down the stairs. He opens the door. He gets greeted by the two legends. Walks right up to Luger. Says, "I have an invite for you for the 2025 class of the WWE Hall of Fame." So Lex Luger's happy about that. He then stands up out of his wheelchair. Three men share a hug. If you're not warmed by that moment, your heart is cold as ice. That was a sweet, awesome little moment that honestly felt way more personal than the way WWE usually do inductions, in that it's just a video package and then a graphic. I want to see more stuff like this. So then, after that, we get a Charlotte Flair interview, which she said, "No, I didn't ambush Tiffany. I warned I would be there wherever she was, and every time I come back, the women's division is at a bottom level, and I'm going to show that there are levels to this." Then in walks a very unexpected figure. It's B-Fab, which, okay. She turns to Charlotte, asks, "Are you calling this women's division soft?" Charlotte said, "Yeah, it is soft." B-Fab then says, "You know no one is interested in bowing down to you." Charlotte retorts, "Everyone bows down eventually. See you next week." So, nice little interaction, setting up a match for next week, which is going to be in Spain, which is going to be very, very interesting. Then we get this kind of weird little match, although it does make sense considering Solo bopped Braun Strowman with a steel chair last week. So yeah, it's Braun Strowman versus Solo Sikoa. And again, a little bit of an awkward start. But once Strowman attempted his first Strowman Express, and Solo moved, threw him into the ring steps, that's when it picked up. Solo just has this energy about him that I love. He brought it to Strowman for a little bit. Eventually, Strowman fights back. Hits a clothesline over the top rope. Hits the Strowman Express over the table. Gets him back in the ring. Goes for a power slam. That gets blocked by Solo, who hits a couple of super kicks. Eventually, Solo does get the power slam. Goes for the pin. 1, 2. Tama Tonga's in and breaks it up. So the match is thrown out. Solo and Tama Tonga then fight with Braun Strowman for a bit. Strowman eventually fights off both men. Then out comes Jacob Fatu, and they continue their little feud from Saturday night's main event. And these two were just monsters going right against each other. Eventually, they make it out into the crowd. Strowman has Jacob has Strowman up on an equipment box where 2 tables are set up right next to it. Jacob was about to hit a Samoan drop, but Strowman gets out of it. Hits a choke slam on Jacob off of the equipment box through the 2 tables. But then after a minute of celebrating from Strowman, Jacob gets up. He looks like he's in a little bit of a daze, but he's ready. I'll admit, I'm looking forward to these two feuding again. And then eventually, we get to Solo versus Jacob. I think that's got to be it. Then we go backstage for an LA Knight interview, when she said, "Guess it's all gas, no brakes for Fatu." And with him out of the picture, there's no distractions tonight. One moment, one time, we're standing here in the city that started America. One moment is here for the rebirth of the U.S. title. I dealt with it all, and I stood tall. Old Glory needs better representation as we pledge allegiance to the new United States champion, LA Knight. Yeah! Great little promo from the former U.S. champion. We'll get to that match a little bit later, but first, we have Chelsea Green. She's dressed as Mick Foley for her upcoming street fights. She's checking in on Piper Niven. She's like, "No, I need you out there. I need my security." Zelina Vega walks in. She says to Green, "No matter who has the title coming out of this, I want next." And walks off. We then get the entrance for Chelsea Green where she drags Piper Niven out. Then we get more John Cena heel turn reactions, which I think that by this point, this is pretty much filler. Then we get to the match, and it's for the Women's United States title, and it is a street fight as Chelsea Green takes on Mi Jin. And Green doesn't wait for her opponent to get in the ring. They start just brawling on the ramp, throw each other into the barricade. Mi Jin with a trash can full of weapons, cookie sheets, kendo sticks, chairs. Eventually, she gets in the ring. Bell rings. She hits Green with the chair a couple of times. Then Green counters with a trash can shot. Green looks for a powerbomb that gets blocked, in which Mi Jin backdrops her into the chains. Michin then looks to grab a table. Chelsea Green with a zigzag, which, that was impressive. Then Green puts the table back underneath the ring to Big Boo's. Then we cut to commercial. We see we see Chelsea Green pulling Michin by the hair, trying to get her back in the ring. She hits her with a blast from a fire extinguisher. Michin then grabs a table, gets it in the ring, but then Piper Niven attacks Michin, sets her on the announce table. Actually, no. Gets back in the ring. Chelsea Green then sets Michin in the corner, trash can kind of right on top of her. And Michin with Chelsea Green with a coast to coast, in which that was beautiful. Sadly, that only gets a 2 count. Sadly. This match was actually a ton of fun. Then sneaking down the ringside is B-Fab, who gets in some kendo stick shots on Piper Niven. That runs them off. Michin picks up her own kendo stick, pretty much smacking Green. Then hits a drop kick. Hits her with the trash can. Then she sets the can on Chelsea Green's head. Sets her in the corner. Hits a cannonball, which that was impressive. Only gets a 2 count. Then Michin sets up a couple of chairs in the middle of the ring. Sets up the table ringside. Green then with a bulldog through the table. Green tried for the Death Valley driver. That gets blocked. Michin with an eat defeat, which gets her on the announce table. Michin with a senton through it, which that was impressive. Only gets a 2 count because then a hooded figure saves Chelsea Green, pulls Michin off of her, gets a little strike in, throws her back in the ring, takes off the hoodie. It's Alba Fire, which that was surprising. Chelsea Green with the Destroyer. No, Alba Fire with the Destroyer. Rolls her back in. Green pins Michin to win and retain her title. I was a little worried about Alba Fire, especially with Isla Dawn getting released. But her being in Chelsea Green's cabinet, yeah, that's not a bad idea. That's not a bad place for her. This could be a lot of fun for Alba Fire. And we see backstage Legado del Fantasma Santos Escobar is giving his guys a pep talk, saying, that was a shame. You failed again to get the tag titles. And things need to start changing. I don't just expect it, I demand it. So Santos leaves. I believe it was Angel that follows him. Berto stays. Then Andrade comes in. Looks like Berto's about to clobber him. Andrade's like, whoa, I don't want this. I know you, and I know you deserve better. Then Berto just walks off. So Andrade having a little backup. I wouldn't mind it. Although it's Hispanics against Hispanics again. We then get another video recap of John Cena's heel turn, this time with no reactions from fans. And I know it's the thing to talk about, but still, at this point it's getting old, especially with a 3-hour show. Then we get a Cody Rhodes in-ring promo, in which this might have been his best promo ever. Where he said, what do you guys want to talk about? And yeah, me stating the obvious. It was one of the most watched moments in wrestling history. And then I have a little 4-year-old. When I went home asking what happened to your face, Cody is sporting a pretty gnarly looking black eye. And Cody continues, I told her a little Cody lie, and I said I ran into a wall. And while that is partly true, I ran into a wall designed by The Rock, Travis Scott, and my WrestleMania opponent, John Cena. That gets big boos and a Cena sucks chant. Wild. This is wild. Then he continues with a story about how he drove Cena around in his youth, trying to drain knowledge from him. While doing so, I thought he was my hero. I'll tell her what happened one day, but this man was my model. And my model, he gave up. And I apologize for my language. I owe it to them. I need to know why. And no, my old friend, it will be a well-crafted retort. And at the end, he'll feel justified. Well, Cena, there is no justification for you. For those here tonight, one place my dad was afraid to perform in, I don't share that. You chose me when I had my match years ago, and you rode with me for WrestleMania last year. You cheered for me. You chose me again. And speaking of WrestleMania 40, you go watch it back. While Cena was celebrating with me, he told me it gets heavier every day. Cody, through this promo, actually has the title standing up right in front of him, which is a great image. Well, here I am, title in hand. He picks it up, and this isn't heavy enough. You think your successor had to act like you? Well, I'm standing here. Cena, if you want some, come get some. Cody using John Cena's catchphrase. Never thought I'd see that. That was a great promo by Cody Rhodes. I want to see more fired up promos like this from him. Because that was great. Then we see Carmelo Hayes and The Miz in Aldis's office. Miz is convinced Carmelo Hayes to do his talk show segment next week with Cody. Then he turns to Aldis, says, we all saw the Cena we warned you about. Well, no one's going to want to tune out from Mellow Don't Miz TV. But when Rock comes with an offer of a lifetime and you say no, that's the wrong choice, clearly. Then Orton walks in, says, Hayes, I know you're itching for a fight. Let's go one-on-one next week. You're on the 1-yard line, kid. Don't fumble the pass. That was Orton, which was another great line from Randy Orton. So, nice little setup for Hayes and Randy Orton next week, which should be awesome if they give it time. Speaking of giving it time, we get this match for what it feels like for the 451st time. We get Drew McIntyre versus Jimmy Uso. And while Jimmy Uso does have the advantage at first, Drew really just overpowers him, throws him into the announce table. Eventually, Jimmy does fight back, including hitting an impressive Samoan drop, only for a 2 count. Jimmy looked for a superplex. That gets blocked. Drew drops down, eats a super kick, only for a 2. Jimmy goes for the Uso splash. He misses. Drew rolls up right into a Claymore for the win. And, yeah, fun little quick matchup in which Drew needed this win back badly. And then post-match, as Drew is celebrating, out comes Damian Priest, who attacks Drew on the ramp. Officials eventually do break it up and get these two separated, in which more than likely we're going to see them face off at WrestleMania. Then we get a kind of promo from Shinsuke Nakamura talking up his match with LA Knight. Then we get a Street Profits versus DIY hype video, which that was super good. Then we get a DIY interview where they say the tag team division is on fire right now, but only the best team holds the title, and it's us. All the other teams want what we have, but there's only one number one. We got a new attitude, and if the Street Profits actually think they have a chance, you're clearly getting in the ring with the best. So for now, let's hold a moment of silence for the Profits and their dreams. And as that's happening, the interviewer asked another question. DIY turned to him and like, what the dude? And they walk off. Then we get a card rundown for the SmackDown next week, which, it's from, I think it's from Spain. I'm not 100% sure. And then we get our main event, and it's for the men's United States title, as LA Knight challenges Shinsuke Nakamura. And this match was fun. Really, really good back and forth from both guys. Blocking each other's finishers. At one point, Nakamura does block the BFT. He rolls to the outside, grabs a steel chair, goes for it, but the ref grabs it, tosses it to the outside. Nakamura goes for an elbow. That misses. Then he goes for the mist. Knight ducks out of the way. It hits the referee. Knight with a roll-up, but there's no referee in. Nakamura with a Scorpio Rising, which that's an interesting move. Kind of looked like a Kinshasa, but that's what the announcers call it. Nakamura then goes out on the outside, gets the chair on it again, goes for it. LA Knight catches it, drops it right down, hits a BFT onto the chair. Knight slides the chair out, goes for the pin. That point, new referee is coming out to the ring, counts the pinfall, and your winner and the new United States champion, L.A. Knight. Yeah. So, I'm going to say this about the Shinsuke Nakamura title reign. It was, again, another disappointment. It just feels like whenever Nakamura gets a title, he ends up being forgotten. So, this title change, I feel like, was much needed. And, we'll see where WrestleMania heads, because for the U.S. title, I'm not sure. So that was a very up and down SmackDown. Like, it was fine in parts. Ultimately, the flow of the show was really, really off. And hopefully one day we get this right. Because I know Triple H can do a very entertaining 3-hour show. So that was SmackDown. We then go into AEW Collision, in which, warning, I did miss a little bit due to me needing to walk one of my dogs. So I'll let you know where I missed out. So our first matchup of the evening, yes, right into wrestling, as we get Samoa Joe, Kazuyori Shibata, and Hook taking on Jack Banning, Titus Alexander, and a very big surprise with Starboy Charlie of GCW. And another weird thing is, Hook has his own neck towel now, which I feel like you could have made that into a storyline where Hook earns it, but whatever. Yeah, this was pretty much the Ops running over an opponent like this, with eventually Joe tagging in, hitting a big old suplex senton combination, tagging in Shibata for the penalty kick and the pin for the win. Kind of a nothing opening match, but I like seeing the Ops. They're a good combination. Hopefully we get to see something a bit more significant for them in the coming days. Then we hit backstage for an Adam Copeland interview where he says, "I'm not like you guys. I don't like that you're around. I had to, and while all I did was ask for this matchup, you're afraid of losing this title, Mox. Well, I got no choice. You're nothing more but a false prophet. The Death Riders are all gone. And I need the Mox that set the industry on fire when he first came to AEW. Not this. I've been in hundreds of title matches, but this one could be my last shot at a title. So I have to make it count. So at Revolution, I have to do this. See you soon." Very nice fired up promo from Adam Copeland. This guy gets it. Then we see Mercedes Moné. She sits down at the commentary desk for this next matchup as Momo Watanabe, Mercedes Moné's Revolution opponent, taking on Serena Deeb. And this was an entertaining matchup. Like, it was the speed and intensity of Momo Watanabe versus the technical style of Deeb. It really shouldn't have worked, but it really, really did. With a couple of times Serena Deeb looking to lock in submissions, but Momo wiggling out of it. Including an awesome looking Boston Crab right near the end. With eventually Momo hitting the Heat Sunrise, which is a great name for a finish, to pick up the win. Then Mercedes Moné gets up off the commentary desk. She slowly and tentatively gets in the ring with Momo. They have a little face-off. Then Moné kind of pushes Momo's face with her title. Then Momo with a big kick right to Moné's face. And then a Meteor off the top. Yeah, that was very, very interesting. Then we get a hype video for AEW's pay-per-views, starting with Revolution, going to be on Prime Video. So that should be cool. Another way to watch AEW. Then we get a highlight video of the Callis family attacking Will Ospreay. We then get a Will Ospreay promo from after this week's Dynamite. So he's back in the nurse's station. I don't know what you want to call that. And then he says, entering this match at Revolution, I'm sent against my brother. And then I saw my Undisputed Era armband. United Kingdom armband. And I wish some part of that man is still with me. We weren't just a faction. All of us took over Japan. And then 1 year ago, I beat Takeshita. I wanted to get the band back together. But we're not taking over AEW. And I'm looking in the cage, locked in the cage like an animal. And I would do anything for you. But I've got to fight back. And I will end this in the cage once and for all. Will Ospreay is a man who also gets it. He is so intense here. It's so darn good. Then we get this kind of out of nowhere match. We got Harley Cameron taking on Tatavik, who I had recently learned she was in the original season of Women of Wrestling, which was like years ago. So that's kind of interesting. Immediately, Takava takes out Harley Cameron. It's a bunch of head smashes and big moves. Eventually, Harley does get out of it, gets a couple of clotheslines, a Shining Wizard, and then for her finishing move, it's actually called her finishing move, which is like a flatliner DD into a DDT, which is very, very funny, to pick up the win. Again, kind of a nothing match, but it was very entertaining. And seeing a WoW original in AEW, that's pretty darn cool. We then get a promo from Kyle Fletcher. He's in the belly of the arena saying, there's nothing more that I love than dropping people on their heads. And when I do it to Will Ospreay, you're clearly going to use this match as a stepping stone. But you're the one standing in my way. And I'm going to be remembered as one of the best wrestlers of all time. And you're going to be remembered as Kyle Fletcher's greatest rival. And just like Undisputed United Empire, you used me to stroke your ego. But now you're locked in the lion's den, and the fans can chant all they want. I'm going to be painting that cage red with your own blood. And I'm going to return this pain you caused me 1,000-fold. I cannot tell you how much I love this Kyle Fletcher-Will Ospreay feud. Has it gone on for a little bit too long? Maybe. But I cannot get enough of the intensity from these two guys. Then we go to this weird little matchup as the Infantry. So that's Carly Bravo and Shawn Dean taking on the Undisputed Kingdoms, Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly. And this was a very entertaining tag team match. Infantry got a lot in. But eventually, Undisputed Kingdom win with a penalty kick right into the high-low for the pin and the win. Yeah, that was a very, very entertaining tag match. And then we go into a Don Callis kind of pre-recorded promo. He's sitting with Takeshita. Callis then says, "Life has been good since I ditched Kenny Omega. Kenny, you're not interrupting this ride. And there's a new wrestling god in town. And while Omega's been out, the last time the wrestling world sees Kenny Omega, Takeshita is going to end you, and we'll never see you again." I will admit, I'm a little tired of Don Callis, but this feud between Omega and Takeshita, again, has been so great. Can't wait for this. So next match, we have a Chris Jericho versus Gravity Hype video. That is going to be for the Ring of Honor title on Revolution, in which that match never happened. Learning Tree took out Gravity and ripped off his mask, which is very interesting. So next we get a Jon Moxley promo. He's all on his own. He's kind of somewhere in the car park. And he says, "We are not the same animal, Cope. There are some crazy similarities. We're the last of a dying breed. We fight through everything. I feel it in my heart. You got a chance to be world champion. And that's what drives you. You sacrifice it all to play the game. And while you wanted respect, I tried to like you. But when I get my hands on you, should I show mercy? Did you show mercy to my people? And you're at AEW Revolution, you're going to feel what respect feels like." Wow. Moxley with a little bit of a rambling promo, but there was some context to it, which this Moxley stuff is getting a little bit better. Next up, we got some good lucha things, as we got Hologram taking on Los Ingob, LGI. I think that's what their initials are. Member Dralistico. And yeah, this was pretty much Lucha Libre at its best. And if you don't understand Lucha Libre, it's pretty much free running, but in wrestling. And yeah, this was... I don't know how to describe what happened in this match, but this match was awesome. At one point, you have Hologram hitting the Destroyer only for one. Dralistico goes for a pinfall, puts his feet on the ropes. Ref catches him. Hologram with a big roll-up, only for two. Hologram then with an airplane spin powerbomb combination to pick up the win. That was a big old win for Hologram. But post-match, Mortis attacks Hologram. Then Commander comes out to make the save. But LFI pretty much takes out both guys, along with Alex Abrahantes. So, yeah, I guess we're seeing some more Lucha Libre action. Then we get highlights from the tag team match from last week between FTR, Daniel Garcia, and the Undisputed Kingdom, which I'm sad to say I missed that. So then we get FTR and Garcia on one side, Undisputed Kingdom on the other. With FTR saying, "Look, we wanted you guys here. You got the better of us. And while we don't apologize for anything, the best team should have clearly won. Then Kyle kind of laughs it off, then says, look at this, they think they're the best team. Then Dax Hardwood says, look, clearly this victory of yours was tainted, so next week, let's run it back. We clearly deserve a rematch. So then, FTR and Strong and Kyle O'Reilly walk off. Garcia is about to, but Cole stops him. Says, look, clearly I deserve the rematch for the TNT title, but let's see if you're a champ until then. Garcia then turns to him and says, alright, I'll grant that. But right now, I gotta defend my title. So we're gonna see that in the main event. But for now, we get a Hurt Syndicate interview with MVP pretty much taking the lead, saying, the Outrunners are so entertaining, but we are about a different kind of entertainment. The Outrunners are clearly the underdogs, but my boys here have never been the underdogs, and we're going to make them suffer. And do you know what to do when a dog is suffering? You put them down. Jeez Louise, that was an intense from MVP. And this is the bit I kind of missed, as we have the Outrunners taking on the Premier Athletes. Did start off as a really, really good matchup, but after dueling dropkicks, I had to go walk one of my dogs. So I did miss the finish. I do assume the Outrunners won. So I did miss that. I did come back to see the Hangman Page MJF music video, which was awesome. Hopefully there wasn't a promo or anything else there, because then excuse me, then we get to our main event, and it's for the TNT title, and it's technically champion versus champion, as ROH Pure Champion Lee Moriarty takes on Daniel Garcia. And this was just a exquisite bit of pure wrestling. And these two guys just went absolutely nuts. One point you see Garcia looking to lock in the Dragon Tamer, but immediately Lee Moriarty gets in the ropes. They trade blows a whole ton. Lee Moriarty with a bell ringer, which that was impressive. Then Lee Moriarty has Daniel Garcia locked up in an abdominal stretch. Eventually, Garcia makes it to the ropes. Lee Moriarty then with a weird cross body, only for a 2 count. A couple of times, Daniel Garcia attempts the pile driver, but Moriarty blocks it. Once into a brainbuster, which that was wild. The other into a roll-up, only for a 2 count. Then they go into a submission off, in which Lee Moriarty does have the Motor City stretch locked in, but Garcia rolls him up, only for a 2. Garcia looks to lock in the Dragon Tamer, but Lee fights out of it. Locks in the Motor City stretch again. Garcia rolls through it, hits the pile driver for the win and the title retention. Then post-match, you have the rest of Shane Taylor promotion. So that's Shane Taylor, who's the team? The Infantry come out. They surround the ring. But before anyone can make a move, the Undisputed Kingdom make the save. And Shane Taylor Promotions backs off up the ramp. And before that ends, we get a Kenny Omega versus Takeshita hype video, which ends the show. While Collision has been a bit better lately, this was less about putting the big stars on the show and more getting ready for the pay-per-view. So I'm not going to fault AEW for one off show. So, yeah, that'll do it from me. I hope you all enjoyed. Coming Friday, Monday Night Raw review comes back, as tonight it takes place from Madison Square Garden. Oh, that's going to be a fun one. Along with NWA Power and AEW Dynamite. So, hopefully you stick around for that. Till next time, happy wrestling, everybody. Peace.